Well, did we enjoy the weekend or what? We all thought there was gonna be some rain to give some spice, right? Like we saw perhaps in FP3. But in the end, the rain did not come, and the rain just got what a race usually is like in Barcelona, right? With the exception that we didn't have that ugly, useless chicane at the end of the lap. And it was more interesting to see cars going full speed in the last couple of corners, right? Well, did anybody else expect anything else of a victory for Max Verstappen? No, right? So, I mean, if we start with the evaluation, let's start with the Red Bull as per usual, right? What did they do wrong? Nothing. Nothing, and the most interesting part is that so far in the season, it's true that it's kind of only the start of the season, but so far, we didn't notice any of those penalties that they got for the wind tunnel use, right? The usage of the wind tunnel. The car seems to be even better than the one last year. And I don't think anybody is gonna catch them, and if anybody does, it's gonna be too late. The lead of Verstappen in the championship is quite wide, and Perez is making mistakes all the time, mistake after mistake. He did it in Monaco. He did it here. I don't know what the hell happened with him in the qualifying. But in the race as well, if he didn't have this rocket ship, he would not be even in the top 10, so I don't know. But anyway, Red Bull have a 9. They have an amazing strategy, they have an amazing car, they have an amazing driver, one of them. And same for Verstappen, right? No mistakes, pole position, dominating all the weekend. He did have some, off-track limit driving warnings, including a white and black flag, right? But after that, he got this black and white flag. He did the fastest lap, and then he just drove it home. So he looks like he's in a very comfortable place. Of course, it's similar to how Hamilton used to win the championships with Mercedes. Very superior car, very superior driver. He's in a really good form. Unlike Sergio Perez, disappointing drive this weekend. Qualifying, he was not able to get into the top 10. And during the race, again, if he didn't have this rocket ship, he would not be standing where he was at the end of the race. So, I don't know. The contract is going to be expiring soon of Perez, and we will see what Red Bull does. I don't think Perez is going to continue in Red Bull much longer, and perhaps they will opt to put in the car somebody else. Who? We will see. Let's talk about Ferrari. What is happening with the car? Not just with the car. I mean, we know they have a big problem with the tire management, right? We saw it in Bahrain, where Leclerc, for some reason, was able to go much faster than Carlos Sainz. And since that day, I don't know if Ferrari are doing some kind of voodoo thing to Leclerc, so nothing good happens to him, or what. But looks like he's very uncomfortable with the car. I heard that like the car is more understeering than oversteering, and Leclerc doesn't like that. Similar to what Vettel or Raikkonen, for example, before in Ferrari, right? They are drivers who require a certain style of driving, and if the car is understeering, it looks like he's not comfortable. But it's more easy. It's easier to drive for Carlos Sainz, for example. That's why he's performing better. For some reason, this weekend, both drivers, not just Leclerc, also after the race, Sainz was saying that the car is kind of not easy to understand how it's gonna behave. So they had a really good car last year, and they managed to make it worse somehow. I don't know what happened, and this is something that Ferrari really has to look forward to, especially I'm guessing for the summer break. They need a break. They need to restart the computer or something. I don't know. just changing the leadership will not solve the problems Ferrari has. The strategists, the engineers behind working in Ferrari, something needs to change. But anyway, Leclerc also, same like Perez, had a horrible weekend. It was out in Q1, and then during the race, they put him the hard tire in the beginning of the race, and then they pit him in lap 20. Why would you do that? Try to go longer, like Perez did, for example. I don't know. I mean, if you put a hard tire, you're not gonna be pitting after 20 laps, right? You should be going longer and then trying to put, I don't know, one medium, one soft, or two softs, or something like this. No, they put the medium and then they put the hard again. And I don't know. I think Leclerc was asking for the soft tire, and Ferrari ignored it. So something is going wrong there. And I have seen many people commenting that they hope Leclerc leaves Ferrari because he will never win a championship with Ferrari. And I don't think Ferrari is going to win the championship any sooner if they don't fix the problem with their philosophy or with engineering. I don't know. Something is not right in Ferrari since Jean Todt left, and even before Jean Todt came to Ferrari. Ferrari had a long time without winning as well. The last world champion was Jody Scheckter, if I'm not mistaken. So they spent such a long time before Schumacher was able to win the championship with Ferrari. Seems like something like that is gonna happen again. They need some leadership. Is Vasseur gonna be it? I don't know, but looks like they need some foreign approach to the issues. I'm not saying British, but I mean, or German, or I don't know. But they need to do something about it. And Carlos Sainz had managed to get some points. He started second, yes, but we knew that the Mercedes are very good in the race, not in the qualifying, and Ferrari is quite the opposite. It's good in qualifying, but not so good in the race. And especially with, as I said on Friday, the asphalt was very abrasive, so nothing to do in the race, as it happened. He held on there to I think some point where they tried to play like mind games with the Mercedes, right? Pitting early to try to put the hot iron stuff, but Mercedes were playing their own game. Both drivers were comfortable with the tires. They went longer, and then they just passed him easy, and then Perez came like with that rocket ship. So nothing to do. And Mercedes, I mean, we saw in Monaco some progress, but Monaco was not a very representative racetrack, right? But here, in theory, that's why the winter testing is also done here at some point, or used to be. This racetrack is kind of a representative of what the car is going to be like in the rest of the championship, right? If the car goes well here, the car goes well everywhere. There's a long straight, there is high-speed corners, there are slow corners, and the Mercedes looks like it's now the second car on the grid, right? They made this concept change. They put some side pods right now. They are very good managing the tires, and they did an amazing race. They didn't they care about what Ferrari was trying to do, and they were just looking ahead. So the only thing I would say about about Mercedes, Hamilton did a good race, qualifying and everything, and George Russell, I give him a little bit less because of his qualifying. He has to improve this somehow. I mean, I don't know why he qualified so bad this weekend, but the recovery in lap 1, I think he got like 6th position, something like this. So it was a very good first lap for George Russell. So yeah, very good job for Mercedes for this weekend. Unlike Aston Martin, I don't know what the hell happened with Fernando Alonso. I think he had a visit to the gravel in the qualifying, and he damaged his floor, and that's why he qualified back. And I think since you cannot fix the car without sacrificing your starting position, he was not able to fix it. So he was conditioned for the rest of the weekend. Well, the weekend for Sunday on the race, right? I think the car is kind of okay. It should be somewhere there with the Mercedes. But yeah, the performance, I think everybody was expecting so much more from Alonso. He made that mistake and he paid it for the Sunday race, even though he was recovering. And then at the end of the race, he didn't want to attack Stroll. So yeah, I'll give him a 5. I think everybody was expecting Alonso to be fighting for the podium. And perhaps he could have, we will not know. And he's looking forward to Canada, where he's expecting to be on the podium once again. Where maybe we can see if the Aston Martin is actually somewhere there with the Mercedes. So actually Mercedes was able to turn the table around, right? To be the second force right now. Especially for the race, where the Mercedes is good. And last Stroll, I think he did a good weekend. He qualified in front of Alonso. He was somewhere there, fighting all the time for the P6-ish, which looks like his position for the year with the car. He should improve, yes, but I mean, is anybody expecting him to be beating Alonso at some point? I don't think so, right? Still, seeing where he was in Monaco and other races, but he was making some mistakes. No mistakes this weekend, and yeah, I gave him a 6 for that. And Alpine, I mean, it's a bit of a shame that they had the same issue as Leclerc in Monaco, where they don't tell Gasly where somebody was coming on a fast lap twice. 2 times they didn't tell him that Verstappen was first, and Sainz was first and then Verstappen, and he was actually caught on camera. So I mean, there was no doubt he was going to get a grid position penalty. But it's a pity because he qualified so good, and once he had this penalty and he was back on the grid. 10 positions for two times, which usually should be 3 and 3, so it should be 6. I don't know why they gave him 10 positions, but anyway, you're trapped. You're trapped in the middle of the traffic. It's a racetrack where it's very difficult to overtake. And even though I saw that the Alpine is kind of fast in the straight lines, which is kind of interesting for the Renault engine, I think he ruined that weekend. If he started in that P4, if I'm not mistaken, it would have been amazing to see what the Alpine can do, right? And Ocon was able to hang in there, fighting with the. Sorry, can I go back? Yes. Ocon was there fighting with the Ferrari and the Mercedes at some point of the race, but as the race went by, the Alpine went back and back and back. Until at the end of the race, even the Aston Martins overtook him, right? I think that's more or less the position of the Alpines right now. I don't know what Gasly could have done, if he could have done it better or not. We will not know because, again, once you're in traffic, you cannot do much about it unless you have the rocket ship that Perez has. And even Perez was suffering to overtake some cars at some points of his stint, right? You could see like he was not able to overtake Alonso at the first stint when he was able to overtake other cars easier, right? So yeah, I think Alpine is doing steps in the correct direction. They are the 5th team right now. Let's hope, or at least I hope, that they can close the gap a little bit more. And it would be amazing if they could be fighting there as well. Let's see. It's an interesting championship, actually. The McLaren, we saw Lando Norris qualifying in P3, which was an amazing qualifying. I don't know if he had the pace to be in front of the pack as well. If he could have fought with perhaps Ocon to score the points, or even overtake Carlos Sainz at the end of the race, right? Did he have the pace? We don't know. The fact is that there was this mistake at the beginning of the race where he touched Hamilton, damaged the end plate of the front wing, right? This one over here. And his race was over. He had to pit. He was last, and from last, good luck trying to recover positions in this racetrack if you don't have the Red Bull. So yeah, good. I give him a 5 because of that mistake, and the race was ruined. Again, you cannot overtake. It's not very easy to overtake in this racetrack. So bad race for him. And Piastri, I think I had more expectations for him. Close to the top 10 all the weekend, but then at the end, he was not there. So we will see how this goes further. And I think this is the surprise of the weekend. I don't know what happened to Bottas, but Zhou Guanyu was able to do an amazing race. I was really looking forward to what was happening to him in the race, because that was the most interesting part of the race for me, right? And he was trying to fight with Alonso at the beginning, and he was fighting and overtaking with Tsunoda at the end to get that P9. Amazing race for Zhou. I gave him a 7. Good qualifying, good race. I think finally he was able to have a decent race that he was looking for, right? No problems, no anything. finally. And in a racetrack that everybody knows, let's not forget, everybody in the grid has been racing in this racetrack for many years, even in the lower categories and everything. They race in Montmeló, so in a racetrack that everybody knows, he was able to do an outstanding performance. Unlike Valtteri Bottas, I don't know what the hell happened to him. For some reason, he was not able to go fast, and I think he was a little bit disappointing. And even though at some part of the race, I think they were telling him Magnussen was trying to overtake or attack Joe, and Valtteri said, yeah, I will hold him back, but then one lap later, Magnussen passed him like a rocket ship. So disappointing weekend for Bottas. And Alfa Romeo, seeing where they were last year and seeing where they are right now, I think it's a step back. It's an understandable step back considering that Alfa Romeo is leaving F1. Perhaps they are not investing anymore. And I think Peter Sauber must be looking forward to this Audi linking. Let's see what Audi is going to be doing, investing in the next years to see how they can reach the F1, right? Let's see how that goes. Haas, I think Haas was one of the most disappointing performances of the race. Hülkenberg was there in the front of the top 10 in the grid, and then he went back and back and back, and there was no stopping it. What? I don't know what happened with the race performance of the Haas. I mean, they have this similar problem like Ferrari has with the tire management. They go through the tires like butter, but really, like being in the top 10 like Hülkenberg was, and then everybody was just passing him like he was an F3 car, right? I don't know what happened. At least he was able to score top 10 qualifying, but Magnussen, horrible race. He was at the back all the weekend. And really, I don't know what happened with Haas. Again, similar to Alfa Romeo. Seeing where they were last year and seeing where they are right now, some races they are there, some races they are not there. So looks like they're very conditioned to how the asphalt abrasion looks like. And yeah, that's it. I mean, not much to speak of. I think this tire management is something you cannot fix so easily. So this should be something they should be focusing on for the next year. It's not the first time that has this problem. In the past, they also had these cars that were very, very tough on the tires. So maybe they have to change the focus. I mean, if they want to achieve something, right? Looks like they are step by step falling back to the back of the field once again. They were only outperforming the Williams, and we know the Williams was not going to be a good car here, so yeah, the Alpha Tauris, I think they are doing steps in the correct direction somehow. I don't know what they are doing, but since Red Bull announced that they are not going to be selling the team anymore, they are going forward. I don't know if they have some help from the mother team or not. But yeah, Tsunoda was there fighting for the top 10 all the race, which is really good, based on, like, I think they did some different strategies at the beginning of the race, which helped Tsunoda to go forward in the grid, to be fighting for that P8 at the end of the race, kind of, until he made a mistake of pushing Zhou Guanyu off the track. I don't know if he had some issues with the brake, because like if anybody saw the race, there was a lot of carbon smoke coming out of the brakes. I don't know if he had issues on the brake. I know he was complaining in Monaco about the brakes, and in theory Barcelona is not a very tough race for the brakes, but still very suspicious smoke. So yeah, I don't know if he pushed them off the track or not on purpose. He had maybe some breakpoint misjudgment, but he got that penalty, kind of deserved. I don't know if it was deserved. They could just told him, like, let Joe go by, right? Just give the position, not necessary to give them 5 seconds, because with those 5 seconds, then he lost P9 and P10 as well, right? Not deserved. I think he was doing a very good race, Tsunoda, for the cut he has. And once again, outperforming Nick de Vries, a driver that I had a lot of hopes for. Did a decent race in Monaco, or decent weekend. He started this weekend doing a decent performance as well, being in, I think it was an FP1, being in the top 5, right? Yeah, we can put him in his position, and I think he should be closer to Tsunoda than what he is right now, if he wants to be doing something with with the Red Bull family, right? I don't know if he's gonna be staying there for a long time if he doesn't outperform Tsunoda. Considering that Gasly, for example, was a burned product from Red Bull, and he was constantly outperforming Tsunoda. Of course, he's a driver with more experience, but as well, he's a faster driver than Tsunoda. So let's see what's gonna happen with De Vries. I had a lot of high hopes for expectations for De Vries, and so far he's a little bit of a disappointment. And Williams, well, I didn't have a good expectation for them on this race. Williams usually goes good in racetracks where you do not require a lot of downforce. Baku is a good race for Williams. Monza is a good race for Williams. And I think Canada might be a good race for Williams, but Barcelona for sure was not going to be a good race. And they proved it, kind of, right? I think they were doing some progress lately, but looks like they are little by little being put back in their place. They are still the last car on the grid, yes, but they are not like as far behind as they were last year, right? They can still be fighting with somebody else, especially Albon. So yeah, like I said, not a racetrack for the Williams. Again, if this racetrack is representative for the rest of the championship, you can see that Williams is still at the back of the grid. So with those racetracks that require low wing, perhaps they can perform. The next race is going to be in Canada, and I think perhaps Albon can be doing something there to try to fight for that top 10 finishing, if something happens to the first 5 teams, right? Logan Sargent, again, this racetrack is a racetrack where everybody has raced before. This excuse of being the rookie and not being able to know the racetrack and everything is not there anymore. Similar to Monaco, but anyway, Monaco is a very different kind of place. And once again, outperformed by everybody. He's a rookie, like Nick De Vries, more or less. Yes, but I mean, you need to start showing some performance, right? Does anybody think that if a Hamilton or Alonso or a Verstappen came into F1 right now, they would be outperformed by Albon? I'm not calling Albon a bad driver. Of course, he's a very good driver, right? But really, you need to show something. The speed should be there. It should not be a matter of speed. It should be a matter of consistency, perhaps. But he doesn't have it so far. So is he there because he's a USA driver? I don't know. Does any other driver deserve this seat? Perhaps, I don't know, Felipe Drugovich, the champion of F2 last season. Does he deserve this seat more than Theo Pourchaire, some other drivers that were in the battle? Mick Schumacher, Jack Doohan, they were fighting for this racing seat last year. Do they deserve it more? Could they make it better? I don't know. So yeah, so far these are the evaluations for the weekend. And for the stewards, I will give them a 6. I will give them a 6 because I think they didn't have a lot of work this weekend, but still they performed kind of consistently with what has been occurring in the past couple of races as well, right? Gasly got the penalty, 10 positions for 2 times impeding, like 3 for 1, 10 for 2. Is it gonna be like this? I don't know. But yeah, I think they were kind of okay all the weekend. They were even showing the black and white flag to Verstappen for going over the track limits several times. Even though he was the first and he was like comfortably driving, they were still tough with him. And issuing penalties and stuff, like with Tsunoda, I think they did a decent job. You can always improve as well. So yeah, these are the evaluations. What do you think? If you have any comments, leave it in the comment box below. And I think we have a resting weekend this one, and we will see each other in Canada once again. Let's see if with the low downforce racetrack like Canada, things might change. Aston Martin should be back on track with the podium, fighting, at least Alonso, fighting with the Mercedes. We have to confirm with the Mercedes finally are kind of there again, and we need to figure out what is happening with Ferrari and Alpine as well. So yeah, interesting weekend, and see you next time.